Good morning, good afternoon, good whatever. We're here, we're back. It's another Victory podcast. It looks like we're just going to keep going with the Victory podcast here on
Yes,
Austin Ollie,
sir.
the sports podcast. There's a lot to get into. Free agency for baseball finally struck through with some guy, I don't know, Shohei Ohtani, that's worth like $700 million now. Or $2 million, actually. We'll talk about
$2
that.
million a year.
Yeah,
$2 million.
Yeah, I didn't want him anyways, so it's fine.
Scrub.
Yeah, the pin's going to start rolling there for free agency for baseball. It's not looking good for the Rangers. I'm telling you that right now. So we'll get deep more. We'll dive into that a little bit deeper here. But yeah, Cowboys, basketball Mavericks looks like they get rolling or they're just playing bad teams again. I don't know.
That's
We'll
a good
talk about
question.
that when we get to that. And yeah, so we had a suite at the Cowboy game, but I let Austin take it out for the hands this time because I had it last time. So I let him enjoy it. So how was the complimentary suite, man?
Oh man, the Austin Ollie suite was great. A lot of fun. The energy at the game was probably the loudest I feel like I've personally ever seen it at AT&T. So I think that like overall great time, free food, some free beer, popcorn,
free beer, free booze.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a nice little time, bro. It was a good
slight,
time.
Right?
Something slight. Can't be too mad about it, right?
Yeesh. And a Cowboys double on top of that, just smacked the crap out of the Eagles.
Needed it. Game of the year kind of deal. Needed that big time. So, man, how was your weekend? Anything cool?
Nothing much. If you guessed it, I went out again. So
another week of drinking.
Another fucking weekend of drinking, dude. I thought this was gonna be the one, but then they just pulled me right back in, and it was just like,
the stockyard to do that to you, man. Stockyard to do that to you.
What do you do?
Gotta take one for the team. There's beers to be drank.
There's beers to be crushed, somebody's got to do it. Yeah,
attaboy.
I mean, it's not gonna do it by itself.
Top tier performance.
So I have to do it. Yeah,
facts.
Yeah, I thought I had a pretty good performance.
That's good shit. You want to get in? We can go ahead and get into the Cowboys. Talk about that.
Let's do it. Let's talk.
Yeah. Nice little 33-13 win. Over the Eagles. I think overall it was a really good game. I think second half was pretty slow, at least on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
But I think like as a whole, I think like first half was everything you wanted, right? Brandon Aubrey like just balling out, like Mr. Consistent, just like smooth,
dude.
Just smooth with these like 60-yarder and like making it look easy.
60 and a like, 59-yarder. Yeah, I think first kicker to do that supposedly.
Yeah, makes it look easy. I think Dak is like even Dak's like biggest haters, like Joy Taylor or Emmanuel Acho, like people like that, like even them are having like hard times kind of detracting like what he's done. And I don't know if you saw Joy Taylor talk about like the Cowboys and Dak being MVP. Even still, like you can tell she's like pulling teeth trying to like give him compliments. But
I think that's the whole media, dude. That's the whole media.
Yeah, whole media. And I think that he's just proving like doesn't matter who he's playing, like he's playing well. I mean, his stat line, I say like it wasn't anything crazy. 24, 49 or 39 for 271 and 2 tuds, no picks, but like I feel like that's taking care of the football, that's making plays when you can. Like the first CD touchdown, I mean, just extending the play, finding a guy that's wide open.
line right there, man.
Yes, dude.
To have that much time to do that.
Yeah, and like just to kind of like set a tone at the beginning of like an important game against a big rival. I think like Dak is just showing that like he's elite, and I've been kind of saying it all year, and we've slowly
throw me under the bus. Yes, the one time I hop off this guy's train, he decides to do this. My job would have been so much easier defending him this year, and I finally step up and just say, you know what, hey, I just don't think he's capable of it. He can do this and that, but he's the favorite to win MVP.
Yeah,
like we're Dak Prescott, Brain Dakota Prescott.
Yeah,
is the front runner MVP.
I think he's like minus.
He's minus.
He's minus. Yeah, which is.
And it's up to him. It's like he doesn't have to worry about anyone else but himself.
Yeah,
If he goes on
and
the
I think
stretch
that
of runs and just takes care of business,
yeah, I think
you
like I
gotta
said, I
start
think he
MVP.
keeps doing what he's doing. He's got it. What are some of the takeaways that you had from the game? What'd you think? I have a couple that I can talk about after
Mhm.
you,
Yeah.
but
So, yeah, I got you. So I obviously wasn't at the suite, but I was at a buddy's house, basically a suite. It was nice. I had burgers for us, quesadillas. I had the whole
oh
entree
yeah,
for us. It
oh
was
yeah,
awesome. It was awesome. And
that's
we were
what you
killing
need.
some Miller Lights, the official beer of the
So
Dallas
same
Cowboys.
experience, same
Yeah,
experience.
exactly. We were basically at the same spot. That's why I let you take care of it because I was like, I'm not missing out. It's the same thing.
You didn't have to sit in traffic or nothing. You were cool.
Exactly. You probably did.
I did.
Yeah. But no, I at some point of the game, I kind of figured that it was going to be not 20 points, but I was like, us at home, and the Eagles just look like they're just getting to the point where injuries are catching up on them and they're getting exposed. Have we been talking about this whole time that they just know how to win games? And
Yeah,
they just look back. All their big three quotations all fumbled the ball, which is amazing. Seeing AJ Brown fumble I just loved this. Seeing Jalen Hurts get up there and just everyone's trying to cheer him up, and I'm like, no, he doesn't deserve any of that. Let him sit there, mope about it. And nothing against Devontae Smith. I don't really dislike him. Also, but he also did do
yeah,
that robbery thing with us last year in the charity bucket, which
yeah,
kind of backfired on him. He was robbing from charity. So how does that look like on his part? But he fumbled, so they all fumbled. So props to the defense on that. The only time I was scared was it looked like we were rolling. We started off slow in the second half, like you said. And Dak gets that fumble and the scoop and score. And I was just like,
yep,
okay, so this is where it's going to go. Of course, the Cowboys would not go through on a Sunday night primetime game at home without scaring us for a little bit. But
yeah.
I
And
mean,
I
after that, and
think
then nothing happened. Yeah.
yeah, I think that was the one point I felt like in the game where I was like, okay, we need to respond here bad because if we don't,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna get out of hand. And lo and behold, like they did. I don't remember if they scored a touchdown or what they did, but they kind of flipped the momentum back to the Cowboys. I think if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. And so
Yeah.
it felt like aside from that, that was really
Ooh, the fake
that was
punt
kind of
too.
really only
I thought it was a
yeah
switch right there too with the fake punt.
the bad thing is with the fake punt. I was like, all right, they're about to punt, so I went up, got some food, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing
You want to stop the
what
ball?
I'm like what what is going on?
Ugh.
So but
Yeah.
yeah, even then I think the defense held tough.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
one thing that I really noticed being there was I think, and I'm glad that they did it was so after the Seattle game, I felt like it was pretty obvious that Deron Bland, he's a great ball hawk. He's kind of been great all year, but he just kind of got bullied by a more physical receiver than him and DK Metcalf. And
Mm.
so I kind of noticed early on that they were having Stephon Gilmore shadow AJ Brown, who's kind of like that same DK Metcalf kind of mold, right? Big,
Mm.
physical receiver,
Athletic freak. Yeah.
athletic, yeah. And then instead they had Deron Bland on Devontae Smith, which I felt like was honestly a really, really good decision because I think Gilly is kind of more of he's that veteran guy, knows how to use
Mm.
his body, knows how to combat some of these guys that are big, maybe a little bit more athletic than you, maybe a little bit bigger than you, and he's able to use his body, a little instincts, a little bit smarter. And I think it kind of worked out.
No, for
Gilmore, I think
sure.
forced a fumble for sure.
Yeah, you forced
I
a
don't
fumble
think
on AJ Brown
forced a
or on
fumble.
Devontae.
Yeah,
Or yeah,
yeah.
or
I think
yeah,
it was Devontae,
yeah.
but they were
I
just
think he.
both
Yeah.
all. It
Mm.
was one of the two. Yeah, they were just both
Yeah.
always around the ball. Kind of helped Deron Bland not get exposed as much as he did really the last 2 weeks with
Mm.
DK and Curtis Samuel. So I really like that kind of coaching point that I felt like they made a difference of. So it felt like they were shadowing a little bit more. Another thing that I want to talk about was I think in the past couple weeks, the running backs I feel like haven't really been able to get the ground game going.
Mm.
But it felt like in the game this was a game where it felt like the running backs were running hard and they may not have got more than 105, 110 yards or so, I think is what they ended up with. But
Mm.
it still felt like they were running hard, like they were making plays, they were getting the yards that they needed to get. Like, I think Tony Pollard had a big, like, third down conversion on, like, a run that you needed to get the yards on.
Yeah,
Rico
it
Dowdle
was
kind
some
of had the same thing.
hard earned run yards.
Yeah,
It was awesome
and
from both of
that's
them.
exactly. And I don't think that we need both of them to be, 100-yard guys. They don't need to be Christian McCaffrey to make the plays. Like, we have the
Mhm.
receivers out there to do so. I mean, we have an elite tight end right in front of our eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we don't need guys like Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle to take over the game. But
Mhm.
it's nice to have them and to know, like, all right, on third down and 3, we can trust these guys to get the yards to convert. And that's what they did. And it felt like, third downs, we were just better than the Eagles. I mean, short yardage, long yardage, didn't matter. Like, it felt like we kind of always had that chance, and it didn't
Mhm.
matter who we were going to on offense. I think that the Cowboys were there, and that it felt good. And it's just the story of the offense the last 6-7 weeks, really, where it's just you don't really think that anybody other than the Cowboys can stop themselves.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be at the end of the day. If it's, I don't know if there's any defense other than the Niners. We don't put the Niners in there yet, but
Yeah.
any other team, I don't think they can stop this offense. They just look insane ever since they switched it up. And whatever happened after that Niner game, if Dak, everyone's talking about if Dak took over the play calls and said, fuck you, Mike McCarthy, or they just did something else. I mean, they highlighted it in the game. Obviously, you weren't watching it, or like you weren't watching the
Yeah.
television broadcast, but they like talked to him about like he talked to the commentator saying how he was preaching compared him to like Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, and just in that like that 1-2 step drop and just throw the ball, like how he's
Yep.
just been preaching that, and like Dak thinks that he's the best that he's ever been because no one ever taught him that. So was it Mike McCarthy, or was it for them just to release the ball way quicker? And he just says, I see
Yeah.
other quarterbacks hold the ball for longer than how I do, and he's like, I don't know how y'all do that. Like, it's weird. Like, I want to throw the ball like within the first like 2 or 3 seconds, just boom, release, release, release.
Yeah, and I think that the play calling change, I feel like definitely has a big impact on that, right? Because I mean,
Mm.
look what's going on in LA. Obviously,
Oof.
right before Justin Herbert got hurt this past year or this past week, but like, was it a week ago? Kellen Moore's offense like had 6 total points against the New England Patriots, and the Patriots are bad, like genuinely a bad
Yeah.
team. So
Mm.
it's just to show that I think that just the difference in concepts that we've had this year, and like a little bit more of like, all right, well, just like you said, right, we're going to get the ball in Dak's hands, and he's going to make a decision in 1.7 seconds, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, and not just hold on to the ball, because that extra second and a half really, like, it makes a difference, right?
Oh yeah.
And
Mm.
I think we've kind of talked about it this year that we don't necessarily have a offensive line that's better than the rest of the offensive lines in the NFL, like we've had in the past, right? When like Tyron
Mm.
Smith, Travis Frederick, and Zach Barton were kind of all at their prime. But I think we still have a capable enough offensive line that they're going to be good, especially in pass protection. And I think that just saving, like not putting them on an island for an extra second and a half every play, 60
Mm.
plays a game just makes such a big difference. So I think that I like the change, and I like the idea that they're just like, just get the ball out quick. Trust you guys all around that can make plays. I mean, I feel like we're finally getting the top 3 receivers. Like, all of them are getting going, and I mean, CD's obviously kind
Mm.
of been that guy, but like, I feel like Gallup had like made big plays when
Yeah.
when it mattered.
Mm.
Cooks has made big plays. Like, Ferg's out there
Oh
balling. Like,
yes.
you give the ball to Tony Pollard on a screen, and he's going to get you 5 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards, and
Yeah,
he's going to
he
keep you
led the
ahead of the
team
chains
again. He led the
and
team again in
receptions. Yeah,
receptions. Yeah.
yes. So just like stuff like that is just, I think, just so important, and I think it's nice because it's a fun offense to watch, especially as a fan. Like, they're scoring points. Like, they aren't really like getting stopped unless they've had a little bit of like penalties here and there on like holds or false
Or
start, or
clipping
just
all of a sudden.
clipping, like just stupid stuff like that. But aside
Yeah.
from that, like, I feel like they're consistent, and you just know what you're going to get. And I think Dak is kind of hitting that stretch where he's playing the best ball of his career,
Yeah.
and CD's cementing himself as that wide receiver 1, and that's what
Yeah.
that's all you want, right?
Yeah, I love it.
So
And one more thing on Dak. Um, if you were to see this game a couple years back, I think you lose this game.
Yeah, 100%.
Like
100%.
it wasn't his best performance. I think he did what was done to be done to win the game. But I mean, completed the ball, completed 61% of his passes. That's his lowest this season since the San Francisco game, which was 58%.
Which is crazy. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, that's the lowest he's had. And he did miss a couple. I mean, he even said that he missed a couple of those, and obviously the fumble, the scoop and score, and all that stuff. Like it looked like, and I was like, Dak really didn't play the best game he could have played, and you still put up 33. He even said it. He said after
Yeah.
in the press, the post game, he said, "If I was on my A game, we scoring 50 on them." And I think they give the offense that they had in the last 6 games, they're scoring 50. They're scoring 50.
I think so too.
And he didn't play his best game, and they scored 33 points and they won by 20. Because I think a couple seasons ago, I don't think they win this game the way Dak played.
Yeah, and I think
that's not nothing
fair.
against him. I just don't think that would have happened,
Yeah, and I think that's a change in the mentality that we've kind of been asking for, right? Like, I think the Cowboys team has just had like I don't want to say a losing mentality, because it's not like these past couple of years we've been we've had bad records or anything like that, right? Like,
yeah,
it's just when it gets to nut cutting time and you need to win a game and you need to make a play, this team just hasn't made a play for whatever reason, right? And I think that I think now, like this year, like I think that they're making those plays. I think Dak is just playing with so much confidence. And I think that, like, on the defensive side of the ball, that's a defense that can win you a championship by themselves. And they've been shown to make big plays. They're forcing sacks, they're forcing turnovers. They're limiting big plays over them. Like, and I think that's just such a big recipe for success that, I mean, we said it last week. I think we said it the week before that too. Like, this is the best Cowboys team that we've probably ever seen. And I think that if there's ever a team that genuinely has a shot to win a Super Bowl, it's this team.
I think so too. And I think people are taking it for granted or just aren't noticing that because of our prior history, obviously being not in the Super Bowl for however many years now.
Yeah.
And expecting the same thing in the playoffs, losing in the first round or the second round. And also just because the Niners are on our way. Because you look at the Niners, if we're being honest, they're miles ahead of any NFL team. Like, we're, if anything, the second best team in the NFL, but I don't know how close you can put that margin. It's just, when healthy, that team looks insane.
Yeah, I think it's closer than you think, because they have lost some dumb games that they have no business losing.
No, for sure, but they weren't healthy at the time either.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I mean, I don't know. I think that you see it. I mean, right? They just beat the Eagles 2 weeks ago by, what is that? 21
smacked them,
or something
right?
like that. Yeah, smacked them. They lose to a good Bengals team. They lost to a Vikings team, which is kind of like a shocking result. And they lost to Browns. So they lost 3 games in a row, but like since then they've kind of been back
they lost 3 in a row. Yeah, that was a really bad stretch of games for them. And it just comes to show, again, with the Cowboys situation with the schedule stuff. Like, you saw a 4-string quarterback from the Giants, Tommy DeVito, the GOAT, with his agent, his Italian agent, on the sideline taking the spotlight, beat up a Packers team. Not saying that the Packers are good, but the Packers are just a way better team than you would think the Giants are. And it's an any given Sunday, any given day thing where you saw the Eagles lose to the Jets. And, I mean, people keep coming on bashing on us like, oh, they haven't beat anybody. They're just winning, blah, blah, blah. And again, I think people aren't seeing that. I mean, it's hard to win an NFL game. And the Cowboys have been doing it single-handedly fashion against these teams. And now they beat the good team. And I just want to know what they're going to say now. And then you have a really good opponent coming up in Buffalo. And then Miami. I don't even know what to talk about with Miami when we get to that point, because I don't know what the hell is up with their team.
Yeah, I think that I don't think Miami is there yet. I think that they have that flashy offense. Tyreek is trying to get to
2K.
Trying to get to 2K. I think obviously getting hurt last game definitely hurts, or definitely doesn't help. I think Mike McDaniels is a good coach, but still, I don't like that. I don't know. I'm not super sold on them as genuinely being Super Bowl contenders. But like on the defensive side of the ball, I'm not scared of them. I mean, it's not like they're playing games that are like super like tightly contested, or not like super low scoring games or anything like that. So I don't know, man. I think that we have a tough run of games coming up. The Cowboys with the Bills, the Dolphins, and then the Lions. But that's still not like that's not a stretch of games that I'm not overly worried about. And it's because this Cowboys team is just playing so consistent. They're coming to work. Doesn't matter who they're playing. I do think that I'm concerned about playing on the road, specifically in Buffalo.
Yeah.
But I'm not really worried about playing in Miami. If anything, like that's not really that big of a deal. It's not going to be super hot, so you're not getting like the Miami like sun like dead in your face, like draining your team. It's not like it's a hostile environment. And then you get the Lions at home. So I think that there's every chance that you can go 3-0 in this stretch of games. But I think 2-1 is realistic. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we were to lose to Josh Allen and the Bills. I think the weather's supposed to be bad. It's in Buffalo. It's a team that you don't play very often. So I'm not super concerned if we lose this game, but still I think that the chance to go 3-0 is there, and I think this stretch of games is going to tell us a lot on whether we're close to the Niners like that, or if we still have a little bit to go that they need to show us a little bit more, right?
Yeah, I think so, because like you said, it's without a doubt that at home they're insane, and clearly that is the reason why you want to be the division leader, because you want that home field advantage as far as possible as you can. Because I mean, they're kind of like subpar on the road. At least they've shown us this year.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's tough playing on the road. I mean, even though I think Cowboys fans travel well, or we just have Cowboy fans almost everywhere, it's just maybe like a psychological thing within themselves and just how they travel, blah blah blah. But definitely these back-to-back games, because we were spoiled. We had 3 straight home games. So now you go out and they go, okay, you had fun at home, so now go to Buffalo and go to Miami. Yeah, exactly. But from what I've seen, it shouldn't be bad weather in Buffalo. If anything, it might be the perfect weather in Buffalo this weekend. So there should be an excuse of anything. It's supposed to be sunny, like 50 degrees. Everything's supposed to be perfect.
Yeah, I think that there is some bad weather that's going on. It's going on like Thursday and Friday maybe. So there's concerns on if it'll hang around the next like couple days after that. But I think, like you said, right, I think we might be able to kind of stay in the clear. If anything, a little bit of wind, but that's kind of pretty much it. So yeah, man. What like we've kind of talked about it, but what do you think is a genuine prediction over the next 3 games on what we end up with?
I think you got to go. It has to be 3-0. I think they're capable of it. It's not the Niners, so I'm not scared of any team. If I'm being honest, I'm not.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Right, I think they're really genuinely the only team that I'm kind of scared about, the Niners, and I think Baltimore, just because they're kind of a similar team to the Niners when it comes to like a run first offense, which is something that we obviously struggle with, right, when it comes to the Niners. And I don't think we really play anybody that's as dynamic as Lamar Jackson either. So
that's
I could
tough.
see them.
We've definitely struggled against teams like that.
Yeah, so I could see us like struggling, but that's not anything that we would have to worry about until a possible Super Bowl. And to do that, you got to get through the Niners anyway, right? So
yeah,
I don't know, man. I think that I think 3-0 is absolutely 100% possible, but I think realistically, I think we go 2-1.
If you go 2-1, that's amazing. If you go anything other than 2-1, that's when we have a problem. I think 2-1 is
I think you have to
the
go.
line.
I think you have to go 2-1.
Yeah,
I think you have to go 2-1.
At least.
I think that's
at least.
If you want a shot at a home playoff game and you want to win the division still, I think you have to go 2-1, and you have to hope that Philadelphia drops a game somewhere.
Yeah, they have to, because if we both win out, the Eagles get the head-to-head. Or they would get the number 1 seed, or the divisional. If we both win out, let's say, right? Because they have to play the Cardinals, but it like everything
Oh
else
yeah.
goes to like par with us. Then it goes down to
Okay.
like divisional games, and we lost to the Cardinals, and let's say they beat the Cardinals, so they beat
Yeah.
us on that. So if the Eagles and Cowboys win out, the Eagles are divisional winners. Though the Eagles
Okay.
have to drop a game somewhere.
Hey, Tommy Cutlets, baby. Big Tommy
Dude,
DeVito's gonna ball out. Hey, come on now.
I think those are the teams that are going to scare you, and because that defense is so suspect
And I
for
think that
the Eagles.
yeah, for the Eagles, and the Giants are just kind of playing like they have nothing to lose, right? I mean,
they don't. They don't.
They're trying to. There's so many guys there that they're trying to save their jobs. It
Mm.
looks like, I don't know if you watched that game last night, but it looks like the whole team is like kind of rallying around him, and they're doing like the little like
Yeah.
Italian like that thing, and
Yeah.
I think that everybody's just like, they're excited to play football. They're having fun, and that stuff that they didn't seem like they were doing with Daniel Jones, and Saquon's, knock on wood, like kind of healthy right now too. So and plus they're a game out of a wild card spot. It's not like they aren't.
I saw that.
Fight.
I saw that.
They're not. They're not like.
playoffs.
I think they currently have the 4th overall pick, and they're still a game out of the wild card. So it's not like they're not playing for anything. They still have a chance to make the playoffs. So, and then really like since that loss to the Cowboys in DeVito's first game, they're 3-0. They're on a 3-game win streak. They're playing well. Tommy DeVito looks like he's getting better every week.
Yeah.
So I think that, it's not uncommon, or wouldn't be surprised if they split 1-1 with the Eagles. The Eagles play the Seahawks too. The Seahawks are a good team. We saw that they gave us a run. They gave the Niners a run too. So
yeah, without Geno Smith, and Geno Smith's gonna he's gonna be coming off a week break though. I'm assuming he plays. So this is good for us.
Yeah, I mean, well, even with Drew Lock played pretty well against the Niners, I think. And I mean, it was a close enough game. I think they only lost by 12, maybe, or 16-28.
Yeah,
so,
it was a lot closer towards like the beginning and middle of the game, and then at the end it just got out of hand.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think if they go 2-2, that's big time. That's big time. But I think they're playing their worst ball of the season right now. The Eagles are. So I think that it's not impossible to do that. But I think we definitely, as a Cowboys, like kind of do for sure need some stuff to happen. But like you said, I mean, it's the NFL. Anybody can win any given Sunday.
That's the thing. It can happen to us too with anything. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So also you know what the spread is for the Cowboys Bills game yet or no?
I think we're dogs. I think we're a 1.5 dogs.
Yeah, we're dogs. We're dogs. 2.5 point dogs.
That's crazy.
I think it was 1.5 at some point, and it just went up to 2.5.
I think, speaking of the spread for this, I think it's a great time to mention our sponsor, FTM Analytics.
Sponsor. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So we have talked about them in the past. They are a great sports betting analytics platform. Basically, does everything you can, helps you kind of put all these elite predictions in together, helps you, make informed decisions about, what games are what, where your odds are standing, what is the best, like, statistical trends and all that stuff that you're putting together. And right now, if you go to FTM Analytics on Thursday night, you can see with the Chargers Raiders game. Sorry, I can't even think. But if you go to the Chargers Raiders games, it gives you a little star rating on what they think is the best pick for the money line, for the spread, over under. So obviously, right, they're going to both be playing backup quarterbacks. So the over under right now is 34. So they're saying, FTM is that through trends and their predictions and projections, that the over is probably the way to lean, as well as the Raiders, with, I think the Raiders are -3 if I am correct. So definitely check them out. They're great when it comes to sports betting analytics. If you want to make an informed decision on when you're betting, obviously betting is not legal in Texas, but we have our methods and our means, and they're definitely the way to go whenever we want to make an informed decision and stuff like that. So definitely, guys, go check them out. Thank you to FTM Analytics for being partners with us. With that, you ready to move on to the Mavs?
Yeah, because when you wrote this run sheet, you said they're 4-0 since we last recorded.
Yeah. They're 3-0. I just updated it.
It was 3-0 before. Oh, okay.
It was 3-0 before.
Okay, it was 3-0 before. 4-0 now. The Mavs beat the fucking Lakers, bro. Fuck the Lakers.
Come on now. Hey,
we beat them.
We almost sold.
I was about to say.
Almost sold.
We both kind of stopped, paid attention, and stopped watching after midway through the third
Third
quarter.
quarter, yeah.
And it was looking bad. I mean, they got outscored 34-22 in the third. But the Mavs come back and go 34-30 in the fourth. And big gains from Luka. He started off pretty slow, wasn't really shooting the ball as much. He got 17 assists.
Crazy. Hey,
I feel like that should be a regular Luka stat line. Tim Hardaway with 30.
Tim.
Oh my gosh. Luka
32.
and Tim Hardaway 33-32. Dude, we need to highlight Dante Exum.
Hey, I have a little.
Have you been paying attention to him since he started?
Hey,
since he's been on the starting lineup?
His last 4 games, I think he started 3 of those, or he started all 4, but his last 4 games, averaging 17.5 points, 5 assists, 5 3/4 of a rebound. Hey, that's a top 5 pick. That's a top 5
top
pick.
5 pick that was playing overseas and just came here. And if you guys have been watching Mavs games, I've seen him live. He looks like a goofball. Okay?
Yeah, he
I'm
does
giving
look
him all
funny.
the respect in the world, but you see him run, you see him bring up the ball. This guy's a goofball. He's everything but a goofball, though. He's been absolutely hooping, taking place of Josh Green. I think ever since Josh Green got hurt, he's been taking a spot, and he just looks amazing. He can dunk it.
Yeah.
He can bring the ball up, like we said, especially now that Kyrie's going to be out for I don't know how long because of his injury, because of thanks to Dwight fucking Powell. Can't help the fucking team, so he's like, all right, let me make it fucking worse for you guys.
Let me make it worse.
Gosh, dude, I hate Dwight Powell with a passion. Seth Curry also left the game with an injury.
Was that today? That was today,
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sucks because I think Seth has been playing good ball. I had it in here. He started getting a good run of games just before the Utah game, which was last Wednesday, maybe. And I think
he's scoring double digits.
He's scoring double digits, which, and I mean, for somebody that's on a minimum, and as like a depth piece, I think I'm taking it any day, right? And I think with Kyrie being hurt, with Josh Green being hurt, they've kind of been, him and Dante Exum were kind of trying to figure out who's going to get those starting minutes. But I think that Seth has been playing good ball. And I think that kind of when we started hot, right, and then we kind of got a little bit cold, it felt like our defense was starting to slide a little bit. But since these last 4 games, we've been really good on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, kind of by the Mavs standards. And again, right, like you can kind of preface this by saying we've played 3 of the worst teams in the NBA in the past week, with the Jazz, the Blazers, and the Grizzlies. But, I mean, to have a defensive rating against the Jazz and win by 50, the defensive rating was 94.5, which is crazy.
Yeah, and Luka had a triple-double by halftime for that game.
Yeah, 40 points. Ended with 40 points in 32 minutes. Just casual. That's dad strength.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Since he's become a dad, I think something changed. He got that stupid-ass little headband.
Hey, what's wrong with the headband?
Bro, that thing is busted, bro. But I think I think he does it on purpose, though. I think he knows that it's goofy looking, but I think that he kind of just loves it. Like, I think he's just kind of a weirdo a little bit.
No, definitely a weirdo.
It's like that foreign exchange student that kind of like doesn't really know what he's doing, but he's kind of cool, right? But he also kind of brings stuff back from like wherever he's from, and he's just like, I'm gonna rock with it. It's gonna be me. It's gonna be me. It may not be the swag, but it's gonna be him.
Yeah, I'm definitely would take offense to wearing a headband before, obviously, when I probably didn't need one. And it was one of those thin ass ones that he was wearing too. Like, for what? And I think it's just funny that it's the face of the NBA, you could say, in my opinion, the best player in the NBA, but you could debate and putting in the top 5, top 3, right? Go ahead. Argue with yourself. And like, Luka seems like the type that but he obviously has a sense of style. You see how he rolls up to games, whatever he dresses, he's always looking smooth or whatever. And the headband really just threw me off. I was like, does he not care about...
It was out of nowhere.
And they asked him about it, and they're like, oh, my hair's just getting long, so I don't want it to look dumb. And I'm like, you look dumb, dude. Like, props to him. He's been hooping with it, but... And you think about LeBron's headband, it was the fat sweatband, but then this is just...
It's this little tiny little, like, it's almost like a little, like, girls soccer one is what I feel like I remember seeing. Yeah, it's literally those. It's like the pack of 4s that you see, and they're like this big. And it just caught me by surprise, obviously. He just pulled it out one day, and I think his hair has stayed the same length. But it doesn't look like it's any shorter or any longer than it ever has been. which
Exactly.
is
So, but it's working, so I'm just gonna let it
I'll
be.
take it. I'll take it.
I'll let it be. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, obviously, right. Looking back at the last 4 games, so tonight we're recording a day late. Obviously, on Tuesday, they just beat the Lakers, reigning in-season tournament champs, LA Lakers, by 2, 127-125. They beat the Grizzlies 120-113 last night on Monday. On Friday night, they beat the Blazers 125-112, and then we kind of already mentioned it, but last I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, they beat the Jazz 147-97. So
Mhm.
4 big results, 4 really, really necessary wins. I think that the Mavs kind of had to have, and now like you kind of see they're figuring it out. They got a really tough stretch of games these next 10 games. They're playing a lot of really good teams. I think if I'm correct.
I think I
What do
saw
you
that.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think realistic expectations are for this team? I think we're 22, 23 games into the season now, so
hmm
about 25%. What do you think a realistic expectation is for this team?
It's a long season, obviously, and I think we can start judging teams now. Going in, you
Yeah,
said
I
like
think so
around
too.
25% this season, you can definitely
Yeah.
start judging teams. Was not expecting 15-8. No one was expecting 15-8. I'll tell you that.
I don't. So okay. So at least when it comes to that, I don't think I will say I probably don't think I was expecting 15-8, but I
Mm,
don't think I was ever expecting this team to be a playing team or to be like a low. I don't know. I like anything less than the 5 seed, truthfully. And I think that it's hard to say that and to get that out of people's minds. Obviously, right? Because the Mavs are so bad last year. But I think that
mm,
they've made moves to kind of be a little bit of a different team than they were. Definitely a lot different team than I feel like they were last year, right? I
mm.
mean, obviously, you have your feelings about Dwight Powell, and he was our starting center for 60 games last year. And look at like what we have in
He
Derek
barely can
Lively,
get
who
minutes now. He can
he
barely get
barely is
minutes now
getting
too. I
minutes.
love it. I love it.
Like look at Reggie Bullock. Reggie Bullock was a key like contributor starting games for us last year. That man's not getting minutes off the bench in Houston. Look at somebody like Dorian Finney-Smith. Like Dorian Finney-Smith, obviously before the trade was a starter, was a massive
Mm.
contributor to the team. Like I think he's playing all right, but he's not anything like
He's
all-star
coming off the
level.
bench too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's in Brooklyn. I think that just the depth pieces that we had that we were kind of counting on last year just shows like how weak the supporting cast was. And I think if Luka is somebody that's a top 5 player in the NBA, which he is, in my opinion, he is,
Yeah, he is. Definitely.
but you can't have a top 5 player in the NBA and not expect to be a home playoff, like have a home playoff series, be a top 4 seed, I think, in the NBA, in the West. No matter how good the West is. And you
Mm.
look at like teams like the Warriors. The Warriors are down this year. They're not playing good ball. You have the Clippers, which the Clippers are kind of figuring it out, but their injury concerns that they have. The Lakers are a good team. They're figuring out. They're playing really good ball too. I mean, the Rockets, and obviously, right, the West is tough, but I think that you still have to expect that you have somebody like Luka who's should be an MVP candidate, and I think is an MVP candidate, but I think that it's on J Kidd to kind of figure out and get this team working and kind of get them being like making changes on, okay, well, we're going to play a little bit faster this year than we have in previous years. We're going to try and get back to our like staunch defense that, like looking back, I think we had like a top 5 defense in the NBA whenever we went to the Western Conference Finals. And now like we're back, and last year we were damn near towards the end of the back end of
Yeah.
the league. So I think
Mm.
just getting back to those things, and I think that I don't know. I don't think 15-8 is out of the realm of like, oh
Mm.
well, this team had no business going 15-8.
Yeah. No, I
So
totally agree with you with everything you said, especially with the defense part. Reminds me like Jason Kidd was preaching the defense. It was like
yeah,
defense, 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 and it just seemed like he threw that shit out the window last season. And every now and then you see it this year too. But we're dealing with a bunch of injuries
yep,
already at the beginning of the season. Maxi Kleber
yeah,
has played probably 2 games, which he won't make a big part. He maybe gets you like 8 points. Let's say averages like 8 or something, 6 or 8 around
yeah,
there. But he's also just a big presence in the rebound game and just perimeter defense, just his size. So that helps out. but it's definitely filled with a bunch of surprises because I don't think anyone thought that Derek Lively was going to be doing what he's doing right now. He just had a,
No.
16-16 game?
Yeah, he was. I mean, I think it was last night he was 16-16.
Yeah.
Which is.
And he just looks insane in the boards. And from the little bit that I saw, he was making Anthony Davis's bitch like in the first couple possessions. And the only thing that he still needs to figure out is his foul trouble. And I think teams know that he's super aggressive and will bait him into fouls. That's the only thing that's going to keep him off the court. Today, he played 30 minutes and he had 4 fouls. So probably could have played 35, but you have to switch him out because of his foul trouble. So that's another big surprise, I think, is a big key factor is that you have a competent center playing for the Dallas Mavericks for the first time in I don't know how long. And but my realistic expectations for this team, gosh, man, I don't know if I should. For baseball, I was really just down. Football, I was really down too. Should I be like optimistic about this one, or should I just keep my hopes low?
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think that's fair.
What do you think I should do?
I'm an optimist, man. I'm an optimist. I like
You
to.
know what?
I like to.
I'm gonna get on the optimist wave. I'm gonna get on the Austin wave. I'm gonna be optimistic, and your Dallas Mavericks will be hosting a playoff series this year.
Okay, I like that
with everyone healthy. Think about it with Kyrie.
Yeah, I think that's a key. I think it's realistic to say that the Mavs have had injury troubles in years past, right? Like Luka, it almost feels like he's always missing an extended run of games for whatever reason, right? Like he just the way he plays, I think he plays physical. Kyrie's just kind of been super unlucky since he's got here with injuries here and there. Even going back to like Dinwiddie, Porzingis, like just always having injuries with the guys that are supposed to be playing next to Luka. So with that, right, like I think that you're kind of in this. I think I'm in the same boat as you. I think it's realistic to expect. Like, I wouldn't go higher than the 3 seed. I think we settle in that 3 to 5 range.
I think that's what I agree. I think 3 is the ceiling.
I think 3 is the ceiling. I would say I'll say avoiding 6. Yeah, I say avoiding the play.
Mm-hmm.
I think in that 3 to 6 range, I think is realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when it comes to the playoffs, depending on the matchup, I think that we win a playoff series for sure. Because I think we probably are capable of beating, I would say, pretty much anybody in the playoffs. The teams that I don't want to play in the playoffs are the Nuggets, and I don't want to play the Suns. I think outside of that, I'm not terribly scared of anybody. Maybe the Lakers too, just because it's like they just proved in the in-season tournament that when it comes to like playoff scenarios, like they're
Anthony Davis just turns it up. I don't know what it is, but Anthony Davis
turns it up. Braun, like he's still LeBron, you know what I mean? Like he's still that guy.
Yeah.
So
I
don't know. I think going to I think the realistic ceiling is Western Conference Finals, but I don't think that this team has the capability. I think they're one piece away from having a finals contending team. But I think to keep Luka happy, to keep faith in the Kyrie Luka partnership, I think you have to win a playoff series, and I think that's the realistic expectation for the team.
Yeah. I also think that if the team wants to be realistic, I do think they will be active in the trade deadline. I think they'll be buyers, hopefully. I think look at the team right now. They're really one piece away of just being top 2 or maybe even like favorites to win something. Because I think the NBA is really just kind of tossed up in the air. I mean, the Timberwolves are first place right now. It looks like Rudy Gobert is finally getting himself settled down.
Yeah.
The Magic are second in the East.
The Magic are nice, dude. The Magic are a nice team.
Yeah, hopefully Banchero isn't hurt for that long. I know he saw him roll his ankle last night, I think. That looked pretty bad. But, and then OKC with their young core finally paying off. So, I think they will definitely be active. We're definitely going to get that one piece, and I think it's going to be Jaden Hardy. For some reason, they just don't like him here.
I think that's.
They just can't find the minutes for him.
I was going to ask you who you think will be that one guy that gets shipped off and is like the big trade piece. I was kind of leaning towards Tim, but I think that Jaden Hardy makes more sense. I think Jalen Hardy is more valuable.
Reward, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he's more valuable to I think other teams, and I think Tim is more valuable to the Mavs. You can still get him on a pretty relatively cheap extension. And he
Mm-hmm.
proved last year that like when you give him minutes, he can play and he can be a scorer. I think, and even on last night against the Grizzlies, I mean, 19 points and four assists in 34 minutes as a sixth man. So I just think that it makes sense. I didn't even think about him, but as like a trade piece and as a sixth man, I think especially a team that's tanking, I think that's a great idea to trade him for maybe somebody that's probably you got to get another big man. I think you got to get another center. You can't rely solely on.
I said go get me Kyle Kuzma.
Kuz.
I'll take me some Kuz.
I don't know. I don't know if I want Kuz. I don't think that you need the volume scorer. I think. I mean, the Hawks are 9-13. If you can make the salary work, I think you try to go get Capella.
That would be insane. Yeah, imagine a rotation with him.
Or
Lively.
Depending on the Raptors, if the Raptors like Jaden Hardy enough, could you get OG?
I know that's definitely a name that's been circling around for the Mavs for the last couple seasons. And I know they said Scotty Barnes is off the market. They really love their boy Scotty. Yeah. So he ain't going anywhere. I'll take OG too. Depending on how Toronto goes and whatever they like. So
yeah. So I like that. I think those are realistic, and I think that obviously right towards the trade, we'll kind of see that come a little bit later on.
Yeah.
Last question I had for you on the NBA is I don't know. I want to know what your thoughts are generally on the in-season tournament. Do you think it was an improvement? Do you think it was good, successful? Not only just for the Mavs, right? I think the Mavs pretty much show that they didn't really give a shit about it. Had the issues with the courts, but I think like also from the NBA as a whole. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so courts were absolutely terrible. They were absolutely god awful, except for like maybe a handful. You can count them on one hand. I think it was a success because you had small. Well, yeah, I would have hoped to see two small market teams go at it, but the NBA would not do that. So they picked one, which was the Pacers, with guys like Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, Buddy
Hield. And just a team like that, and then you got the Lakers. So, and I think they attracted a good amount of viewers. I didn't watch the game because it wasn't my teams, obviously, but and it definitely looked like it. I mean, it looked like the teams cared. They wanted to win and made it more realistic, or just more. I mean, just for people to watch regular season basketball. I think that's what they wanted it to be, and people weren't taking serious of the regular season basketball, and just showed you why smaller teams can still do it. And that's kind of what the reason is of why they're trying to adapt it from Europe, which it kind of works, but kind of doesn't work because then the record still counts towards your regular season record. And I remember when it was first going on, I was talking to my friend because I was like, okay, Mavs lose, but how do they fill in those games that were supposed to be played? Or like, how do you know? Because and it looks like they had a set schedule set already. Like they released it like once all the bracket was ready. They said, okay, they're playing because they had to fill in those games at some point for like the teams that didn't make it. And they just released a fat ass schedule of like, okay, you're playing this team, you're playing this team, you're playing that team. So they had that situated, but I was just curious of why or how they could get that working. And they were suggesting like other incentives to try to make it more because I think they won what? Like was it 500K bonus?
500K a person. It was 500K
which I think is a lot.
And that's like especially to the back end guys, right? Like the guys that were on two ways for the Lakers.
Some of that might just match their salary.
Yeah, or like the rookies that are making maybe they're making 1.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think I think you're right on, right? With like a small market team. I mean, the Pacers are such a young team that, maybe that money like that it drives them because they are all on still like their first deals. Especially guys like Halliburton. I mean, obviously, right, Buddy Hield's gotten paid, Miles Turner's gotten paid. So there's guys that have gotten paid, but there's still a lot of guys that are young that are trying to make a name for themselves. They're on their first deal that like 500K is a significant amount of money for some of these guys too. So definitely cool. I think overall it was a success. I think it brought really good basketball and meaningful basketball to games early on in the season that may not necessarily be as competitive or you know what I mean? I don't know if you watched a little bit of like the Pelicans the Pelicans Lakers game, but
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
like that Lakers team, the Lakers just like they're playing damn good basketball right now, and that's because
Mm,
like LeBron is taking it, and that's kind of what you want from the face of the league, right? That you want them to take something like this seriously and show like, hey, like this is something that you should care about. Like they celebrated afterwards, like they went out in Vegas afterwards and celebrated like they should have, and showed that like, hey, like, you know, I may be a 20-year vet, but I know that there's guys that this 500K is going to mean a lot more to somebody than it's going to mean to me. And I think quotes came out from the guys that were on two ways of the Lakers, and they were like, yeah, LeBron came to us and said like, hey, like I'm going to go out there, I'm going to win this for you. Like I'm going to get you that 500K. I'm going to get you that money.
yeah.
And so like, I don't know, it's just cool. And it's like guys that don't necessarily like need it. They may be getting, I mean, that may be a drop in the bucket of their salary. I mean, I think that's 10% of LeBron's salary, or if I'm doing the math right, 1% of LeBron's salary. So
like one maybe.
Yeah. So like it doesn't matter, but it's still providing good basketball, and it's making teams like be competitive, and it's putting a spotlight on teams that maybe, you know, may not compete for the playoffs, but they're competing for something this year. So I thought that was cool. I thought it was a plus. I think it was fun. You know, makes early season basketball that may not always be like competitive, makes it competitive, makes it fun to watch, and makes it gives it a little bit of something, gives it a little bit of spice, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what the goal was for regular season basketball, to be competitive and more just attractive for viewers and stuff like that, which I think it did work. I don't have the number, but I'm pretty sure I heard that this was like the most viewed regular season game or whatever, like in a long ass time, obviously. Also, I think it shows your competitive side. So I don't know if you've seen podcasts every now and then of like NBA players. I think one of them was DeMar DeRozan. He was like, yeah, some guys don't care. Like some guys just play basketball because they want to play, or some guys are out there because they want to win. Some guys just go through the motions. And I think this tournament can really show if a basketball player is competitive. Like I think you could say LeBron and Anthony Davis are one of the most competitive guys in the whole league, you could say easily, just because of how they were taking seriousness of this. Like, hey, this is a tournament game, or this is whatever. And you could probably see other guys and just be, it's just, we're just playing basketball, man. We're just, you know. So I think that was a really good dub for them. Yeah, they were just like, I'm still getting paid. And I think that's kind of sad, because it should be a privilege of being a professional in any sport. Basketball, I mean, you have kids looking up to you. You're inspiring the youth. You're doing everything. And for you to just kind of take it for granted, it's just, I'm like, damn, bro. Like, people would die to be what you're doing right now. Getting paid to do what you love, or quote unquote love, supposedly. So definitely see this side of that for people.
Heard that, man. Yeah, and it sucks, 'cause I feel like, especially guys that, you know, play a sport for so long, like I can imagine, like you just get the fun like taken out of it for you.
Yeah.
But I think you're right? Like I think that it just shows like people that care, and I think that just shows like who should be an example for the people that are watching, and you know who are like why LeBron's the face of the league and has been for 20 years. So
yeah,
I think it's awesome, man. I liked it. So well, that's all I got. You got any last minute thoughts on NBA Mavs? Hopefully keep winning.
No, I'm just excited, man. I think I'm going to the Mavs Clipper game on next Wednesday.
Big time.
And then I'm going to Houston to go watch the Houston and Mavs play that following Friday. So I'm basically just traveling with the team.
Houston's got a nice little squad, dude. They got a nice squad.
They're way better at home too.
Yeah, I think that I just saw they were 10-1 at home, and they
won 11 games.
They
have a pretty good home. Yeah, they have a pretty
10-1 at home, 1-8 on the road. So
yeah, they love their home games. So it should be a good game.
Cool. Well, let's get the gloves ready. Let's hit the dugout. A little ollie and outfield time. Got some big stuff going on.
We got some big stuff going on. So yeah, get y'all's gloves, and if you have kids, please put them in baseball. What I'm telling you, dude. I told my coworkers, I said, guys, when I have my kid, he's gonna be playing baseball, and he has no option. He has no choice. He will be playing baseball because he will be making outrageous amount of money, crazy amount of money. But I hinted Shohei, obviously, but let's just start with your Texas Rangers. You're world champs. If you guys forgot, you should wake up and just go, oh, World Series champs. Yeah, that's us. I've been awfully quiet and probably will remain quiet, sadly. So one of the bigger signings that happened was Kirby Yates. He was a former
Who?
Atlanta Brave. I had like a couple of people text me, "Is Kirby Yates?" And I was like, I don't know
I
what to
don't
tell
know.
you, man. He's got like a 3 ERA. He's on the older side. I think he's like 34, 35. Definitely better than what you have right now. He's not going to be a high leverage guy, and is nothing to be crazy about. It's just another bullpen arm. That's exactly what you're looking for. Jesus Tinoco, if you remember him, he's the one that gave up the fucking world record bomb, or the history maker bomb against Aaron Judge. So
Okay.
he signs a minor league deal with the Rangers. Kind of saw it this morning. I didn't even see it. I just saw it this morning, like just pop up out of nowhere. So okay, cool. And again, why the Rangers might not spend much, it's because they're broke. No, not because they're broke, but their TV deal was definitely in the way
Dead in the water. Yeah.
of them signing, because Bally Sports is supposed to go bankrupt, or they did go bankrupt. So they are going to be moving on from them at some point within the next year or two. And I think the Rangers are trying to figure out if it's worth to stay with them, because I think they're allowed to just, let's say, like what happened with the Padres this year, how Bally just, or whatever, cut them, and MLB just took over mid-season.
Okay.
So I think the Rangers are scared of that situation to happen, because it was like, what if they just cut us out of nowhere? And what are we supposed to do? So they're trying to figure out if they can find someone to get them right now, right before the season starts, or just risk it. But definitely that's
Yeesh.
obviously because the TV views are most of the money. It's not a lot of money, because, I mean, no one really watches it that much, but it's still a big portion of what you make. So that might be a reason why the Rangers might not, are just pretty awfully quiet, and it seems like they're off the race, or they're out of the race of Jordan Montgomery. It's kind of sad. So it looks like I haven't read anything positive about these guys in free agency yet. And if anything happens, it's going to be trades, for being honest.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that you didn't lose that many people. You
Yeah, I
lost
think
Jordan
really
Montgomery. Yeah, you lost Chris Stratton. You lost Mitch Garver. Maybe
Will
Mitch Garver
Smith.
comes back on a friendly deal. Will Smith. We'll get to him eventually. But again, you didn't lose that many people. And what you're ideally trying to do is upgrade your bullpen.
Yep.
And you got one piece that's going to help you, obviously, but still farther into the process. So I'd be surprised if anything big happens. I'll be very surprised if Jordan Montgomery resigns. I want him to stay. But Shohei definitely just threw that shit out the window with his contract. But it's good, because everyone's going to start signing all of a sudden. Because Shohei finally signed.
We've kind of seen it. Yeah,
contract.
we've kind of seen it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, definitely saw the ball rolling. Before that, it started with Juan Soto getting dealt to the Yankees. That one was crazy. I mean, I know people were talking about it, and they're just kind of like started like raising up all of a sudden, and they goes, "Yep, he's going to the Yankees," and I'm like, "Oh,
That sucks too. It's just like not. I don't know. It doesn't move me. I think it's just like, oh, okay, the rich get richer, and it's the same with Shohei. Like, it's boring, in my opinion. Like, those moves are like moves. That's the one thing I don't like about baseball, is that teams like the Yankees, these big money teams, Yankees, Dodgers, like they're just able to do this. Like, they just have the money to spend. They have for whatever reason, right? They have the prospects or whatever. So I mean, more power to you, I guess, but it just makes it boring for when stuff like that happens. I mean, I think I saw something that it was like, oh, I'd rather this team, whenever the Dodgers play, like I'll root for a team with Ted Bundy, like Trevor Bauer, like all these people instead of the Dodgers. So
oh my God.
I don't know. It just makes like villains of these like
I don't hate the
massive
Dodgers
teams.
that bad. I don't hate the Dodgers
I don't
that
know,
bad.
man.
I hate the
I don't
Yankees.
know.
I hate the Yankees.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the Dodgers.
So-
They gave us Corey Seager, so I'm fine with the Dodgers.
Fair enough.
They don't move me.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, but no, definitely. I mean, the Yankees gave up a lot for, I mean, basically a rental. He's a 1 year. See if they re-sign him after that, if he wants to even stay. And hopefully, I like Juan Soto. He's a good guy. He's a good outfielder. He's a good hitter. Historically good. And I just hope that the pinstripes isn't too much on him, because clearly we've seen it with multiple people that they just can't handle that. But Joey Gallo was a bum regardless. He was just a Ranger legend, because he would hit bombs every once in a while. But yeah, you had him. You have Trevino. Obviously, they still like Trevino out there, but you think guys like Harrison Bader, Jordan Montgomery, they thought he wasn't even a playoff rotation guy, and look at him. He just, not single-handedly, but was a big part the World Series
Yeah.
run for the Rangers or postseason in general. And there's been a lot of guys. There's been multiple guys that just don't work out there. And they've definitely another guy that's still out there is Yamamoto. He's met with multiple teams. He met with the Giants, the Yankees, and the Dodgers now because the Dodgers are able to afford people because Shohei is so nice and generous to cut $68 million per year and just make $2 million a year. Where were you when that news broke?
Where was that? What day was that?
Saturday morning, afternoonish.
I think I was at a basketball.
Were you coaching?
But yeah, I was coaching. But still, I was like to see the sticker shock, right? Like 10 for 70 or 700. I was like, holy shit! Like that's just like unreal money.
Yeah.
And then to see, oh well, it's really 10 for 20. And then 680 million of that is just kick the can down the road. So it's crazy to me. I guess that's baseball. I guess you can do that. I mean, look at like somebody like Bobby Bonilla, right? That's been getting paid by the Mets.
And baseball can't do anything about it. Like it's in the rule book that there is no minimum or maximum to deferring a contract.
Yeah. So
if you guys agree to it, they'll do it.
Yeah, so let's just take $680 million and just kick that can down the road. We'll deal with it later.
But the thing is, he's so smart. Shohei's so smart, dude.
Yeah, because he won't pay taxes on it in LA, I'll tell you that much.
Exactly. He won't stay in LA. He'll move to wherever, and he'll be like, all right, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Because he was going to be losing, like 40% of his annual salary? Or like 30-something%?
It was going to be over 50% of his salary. I think of the 70, I think he was gonna get like 38 of it, maybe. Yeah. So just over 50% he would have got.
Yeah, he was definitely pissing me off though because of the whole thing where he was gonna hold it against you if you spoke up about it, even though Dave Roberts did, but they still kept him. But he definitely, I have a change of heart with him because clearly he wants to win, but he knows that he's the best player to ever do it. Asterisk, maybe. I think it's pretty good. And he said, you know what? I want to be competitive, but I know I'm going to cost you a lot of money. So you can pay me $2 million. $2 million is insane. Austin Hedges just got signed to the Guardians for $3 million. Will Smith just got signed for $5 million. They're going to be making more than Shohei in that time. Because he makes like $50 million over like sponsorships and branding itself. So this is nothing to him.
Yeah, so, what's crazy to me is like it was his idea. Like he was the one that like came up with the idea to say,
it wasn't the Dodgers.
Let's defer it. Like
and he said because he wants them to still be competitive and be able to get free agents, and that's why that brings in Yamamoto. If they sign Yamamoto and win 110 games and then lose to the first round to the Arizona Diamondbacks, so be it. I would love that. I'll be praying for the downfall in the playoffs.
100%.
Yeah, no, I give him props to doing that. He's just smart, outsmarted the whole everyone because that came out Monday. I got the notification on my phone. And I said, "This motherfucker, dude, he's gonna be making $2 million. He's gonna be making in 10 years $20 million, basically, and he's just gonna get the rest." I was like, my kids are gonna be seeing him getting Shohei paid, and I can't wait to tell them the story.
Yeah, we were there. I mean, not there, but we were around.
We were there.
We were around.
Yeah. I'll briefly mention everyone else because we're cutting a little bit this far. If you're still here, guys, you guys are amazing. I know you guys have been waiting for all in the outfield, so I'm keeping you updated. Verdugo also got traded to the Yankees. Blah blah blah. So it's Judge, Verdugo, and Juan Soto in the outfield. That's pretty cool. I thought it was kind of weird with Verdugo, and he's gonna look so ugly without his beard. By the way.
Yep.
And he's got a beard and a grill. Definitely not the Yankee way. So I don't know how that's going to work for him.
They used that picture to announce him. The picture with the grill and the beard to announce him.
Yeah, they definitely used that picture to announce him. Yeah. Kansas City, what the hell are they doing? These guys lost 110 games last year. They think they're the Rangers. They signed Will Smith because if you guys didn't know, Will Smith has been part of a World Series team for the last 3 years on 3 different teams. So the Kansas City Royals will not be winning the World Series next year. I'm just telling you that right now.
There's
no way in hell.
Congrats on getting traded.
There's no way in hell.
Getting traded at the deadline.
Yeah, okay, that's what I see. So Will Smith, Stratton, and Seth Lugo a starting pitcher, have been signed to the Kansas City Royals. And Seth Lugo is making $15 million a year. It was a 3-year contract for $45 million. It's not some pussy shit.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent starter. And you're just and it looks like it's supposedly they're looking to add Stroman too, Marcus Stroman from the Cubs. What in the actual fuck is going on over there? Them in St. Louis. How I see it, I think they're trying to better their farm. And they're gonna get these guys and dog shit, use them as minimal as possible, like Will Smith, just like how Chapman did it. He was able to sell it to us on how he was good for whatever. He had like a sub 2 ERA, sub 1 maybe.
Yeah.
And then he comes to us and he kind of like just shits the bed because we overused him. He's like, I'm not used to winning, bro. I was just playing baseball because it didn't matter. I think they're going to be used as trade pieces, and they're going to just try to finesse the Rangers again with Cole Ragans. Cole Ragans, I'm excited to see him next year. It's sad that it's in a different type of blue, but he was a damn good player, and he just couldn't do it here. So, yeah. They also signed Taylor Hearn. I was going through a transaction log somehow. I got to their page.
Bum.
They signed Taylor Hearn. It looks like Taylor Hearn's going to be pitching in Japan or something like over the summer or like over the winter. I don't know.
I feel bad for the guy. I don't want to speak bad on him that bad.
No, you can't speak bad. I mean, I'll speak bad about Dwight Powell, but I can't speak bad about Taylor Hearn. It's a hometown kid. He was our home opener at some point, but wish him the best. Wish him the best. He's in Kansas now.
Yeah.
Last big free agent that is pretty cool. It signed right today before this happened.
Oh, yes.
Young Ho Lee. I want to say, did I say he was going to sign with the Giants, or am I like thinking that I said that?
Do you remember me saying that? Actually, yeah, no, I do remember you saying that. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Okay, I don't want to seem like LeBron, but I did kind of
I do remember you say that. You
call out that he was probably going to sign with the Giants. So he signed with the Giants for 6 years, 113.
I think that's a good deal.
He's going to opt out after 4 years. Yeah, pretty good deal. I think it's like around like $18 million a year if he goes all 6.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see him. He looks like an athletic guy. I told you he can run the base path pretty well. He's a tall, lengthy guy.
He was the guy in the KBO, right? The Korean baseball. Yes.
Yeah, that he's been pro since he was 17.
Like, yeah, super young.
Since 2017 is what I was, or I forgot. I think it was 17.
Yeah, it was a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So he missed all last year because of an ankle injury, but yeah, he got posted. So other guys that got posted still that haven't signed, Yamamoto and Imanaga is the other guy too.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So the two pitchers.
Shohei, I think is what it is.
I think it was Shohei Imanaga? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, two big guys are still out there that keep an eye out, but one gets off the board with Jung Ho Lee, and that one was pretty quick. He had just gotten posted, I think, last podcast, right? Last week?
Yeah, really recent.
Yeah, just gotten posted. Yamamoto's been on there for a long time. And Yamamoto's deadline's coming up. It's like the first or second week of January. So I think by next week we'll have that done. And there'll be a lot more free agency stuff. Hopefully the Rangers are more active because Shohei finally signed his contract. So let's everyone go. So like Blake Snell is still looking for a contract. Jordan Montgomery is still looking for his contract. And everyone else is still looking for their contract.
Yeah, man. I think the one thing is, I think I saw that Josh Hader was getting targeted by the Dodgers too. So like,
okay, I just saw that.
Yeah, they're trying to do like a just super team over there. But
I don't think it's coming to the Rangers too, by the way. So yeah, throw that out the window. I'll be very surprised if Josh Hader's a Ranger.
Sucks. But
yeah, just
with that, guys, I think that's. You got any final thoughts? Anything you want to get off your chest? I got a lot off my chest last week, so you want to continue to do that?
Yeah, you did. This was a more peaceful podcast. I mean, shit. The Mavericks are 4-0 since we recorded.
There's a lot of good
Cowboys still win.
There's a lot of good happen. Yeah, it's hard.
And like you're not mad. You don't have to stress about anything. You're good. We're good.
I'm good. I'm good, baby. But with that, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. It was episode, I think it's 17 now, which is crazy, of Austin Ollie Sports Podcast.
It was for Shohei.
Yes. So guys, please make sure you go subscribe, go rate, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all that stuff. Definitely would appreciate it. Tell your friends. Follow us on Instagram at Austin_and_Ollie. On TikTok and all that stuff, we're there too. So please, in the show notes, everything will be there. Go check us out. We appreciate you guys for listening. And with that, guys, that was this week's episode of Austin Ollie Sports Podcast. We'll be back next Tuesday. So we'll see you guys then. Peace.